This ball and chain for my husband on our 6th wedding anniversary was just a puzzle for fun. But sadly, it is symbolic of too many marriages where "till death do us part" has become a life sentence. We've called in an expert. 30,000 people visit his website every month. Author, speaker, pastor, and counselor Dr. Gary Chapman is author of the New York Times bestseller, The 5 Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts. After 40 years counseling couples, we thought that we'd go after 5 secrets, Dr. Chapman, to a marriage that will last. And I mean, obviously, we could spend an hour and be running out of time. But you've seen marriages rekindled that have been, in effect, married singleness for 30 years.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Roommate marriages.
Yeah, living in the same house, but living independent lives. Yeah. So 5 clues, I would say number 1 would be learn each other's love language if you want to have a long-term happy marriage.
And it would just very quickly, again, the love language is, they are.
Words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Each person has a primary love language out of those 5.
So it's learning how to fill that other person's love tank.
Love tank, absolutely.
In the way that it works every time.
Yeah. So meet that need. It's the emotional need for love. It's the deepest emotional need we have, the need to feel loved by the significant people in our lives. And in marriage, that's your spouse.
Right.
So learn the love language of your spouse and speak it on a regular basis. The second suggestion I would give, deal effectively with your failures. Reason I say that's important, none of us are perfect.
True.
One man did raise his hand when the speaker said, "Does anyone know of a perfect husband?" He shot his hand right up. He said, "My wife's first husband." If there are any perfect husbands, they are deceased, and most of them got perfect after they died.
You say in your book, individuals mess up every new day with yesterday.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is strongly implied.
Absolutely. So it's apology and forgiveness. It's dealing with your failures. Learn how to apologize and then choose to forgive. I think that's the second thing I would say. Okay. The third thing I would say is learn to handle your anger. Don't let anger handle you. You handle anger. Anger is a good emotion. It stimulates us to try to right the wrongs in the world. But when we let our anger control us, we typically make things worse in the world. So learn how to handle anger. I have a whole book on that, on anger.
Can I pop in a fascinating indicting statistic from your book, Love Languages? Research shows that typically that person you're conversing with, or maybe in a boil over with, you only wait 17 seconds before you interrupt that other person. Yeah. So you might be defending yourself, and I'm your spouse, and I just cut right in there. Yeah. I only listened for 17 seconds.
We don't know how to listen. We talk. We don't listen. We talk long enough to get our gun loaded, to say, "That's wrong. No, 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 that's wrong." And we shoot them. And so we shoot each other rather than listening and affirming the other person's thoughts and feelings. So a part of that is learning how to listen. In fact, maybe that's the 4th thing, is learning how to listen, to your spouse. Because the only person who knows what's going on in their mind is them. And if you listen, you can find out what's going on inside of them. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are their desires? What are their frustrations? Listen to them, and you'll know how to relate to them in a better way.
You have a daily minimum requirement for quality time. What would that be, Doctor?
Tell me 3 things that happen in your life today and how you feel about them.
That's your conversation daily.
Yeah. You tell me 3, I'll tell you 3. We're letting each other in on our lives.
Yes.
We spend a great deal of time apart during the day. In fact, the longer part of the day we spend apart. Let's share it with each other.
And not a text.
Yeah, right.
No? Face to face.
Face to face. Face to face is always better. Now, if you're 100 miles apart and one's traveling, text can be helpful, okay? I think the other thing I would say to have a long-term healthy marriage, you have to come not only to accept the things that irritated you in the early years of the marriage, but you have to come to laugh about them. I did a book last year called what's it called? Married and, let's see, I can't think of the name. It's on the second half of Married. Married and Still Loving It. The Joys and Challenges of the Second Half, okay?
Oh,
the
I
second
like
half
that.
of marriage.
That's a long title. No wonder you
It
struggled.
is, yeah. And we found that one of the secrets to marriages that thrive in the second half is that they have not only learned to accept the things that irritated them, they've learned to laugh about them.
Very good.
You know,
Take life a little more
yeah,
lightly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I think those would be the 5 suggestions I would give if you want to have a long-term happy marriage. You can.
40 years of counseling, and this is a man who ought to know, and 11 million copies in print, in hands. The 5 love languages, the secret to love that lasts. Well, you know, I saw an old Western. The child asked his dad, "What's love like?" And the dad said, "If it means the same to both people, it's happy and safe and sharing." I like that.
I like that, yeah.
So does Dr. Chapman. Sounds like good communication. If you are having a struggle in your marriage today, you may need prayer, and we're here for you. Why not call our prayer lines? This is the man that will affirm the most hopeless scenarios can be transformed. We have a great God. Please stay with us.